Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So we're continuing our little adventure with the new aquarium that I'm setting up, the new fish tank, the 85 gallon SR 80 gallon SR innovative marine tank. So today is I'm going to show you how to mix the water. I already filled up 80 gallon to 50 gallon tubs of water with RODI, and I'll show you kind of how I set it up. I kind of one morning just woke up and I said, let me get this set up so I can start making the water. But I'll show you what I did. I haven't mixed the salt yet, so I'll show you how I mix the salt. And then we got to add sand to the tank, and then we got to add a heater. So I'll show you everything we do. I'll try to film as much as I can. Sometimes it gets hard filming by yourself, and sometimes you need both hands. But yeah, come on, and I hope you guys are enjoying this little fish tank that I'm building. Okay, so this is what I did. Here's a 55 gallon brute trash can that I bought from Home Depot. It came with a lid, and I did get the like dolly for it, so it's easier to move. But it's 55 gallons, and then I measured out where approximately where the 40 gallon line is. So where you see the float valve like coming out, that's where the 40 gallons is. And then in here, there's 40 gallons of water that I made. It took a while. I have the 100 gallons per day BRS RODI system, and it took almost a whole day to get 40 gallons out of it. But I have two of these. I have another one, so I have a total of 80 gallons to put in here into the tank. And so the way I measured it was actually I got one of these flow meters from Amazon. I don't know if it's gonna focus, but it's a flow meter. And what you do is on one end you put in a spigot or hose or something, and on the other end the water comes out and it tells you how many gallons has come out. And so all I did was I put this in there, put the hose in there, and then just let it run. And then at every increment, like 5, 10, 15, 20, I marked the barrel to know where the different lines were. And then I got to my 40 gallons and marked it. And then I emptied it, and I did wipe it down, right? Because since I use tap water to measure it out, you don't want to contaminate RODI water with things that might have been in the tap water. So I did wipe it down, dried it up completely, and then I filled it up with RODI water. But yeah, so in here I also drilled a hole. So I have an outlet, and down there's a pump, and then I have a hose attached to the pump to use when I'm gonna fill the tank up with. But right now it's just running, spinning the water. Earlier it was up top, so it had a little more surface agitation, but I think it's sank down because it's been a few days now. I'm not gonna stick my arm in there right now because it's cold and I don't want to get wet yet, because I do have to mix in the salt, and then we'll get there. But yeah, so this is 40 gallons of RODI water, and I have two of these. Alright, so the salt that we're going to be using is this Instant Ocean Reef Crystal, the orange bucket. I think this bucket is good for 160 gallons, so I should be able to use this twice over. Obviously the initial fill up is going to probably use half of it, and then after that, for my water changes, it's going to last me quite a while. So in order to do this, you need half a cup for every gallon of water. So I have 40 gallons in each of my containers, so that means I'm going to need 20 cups. So I grabbed a plastic cup that I haven't used yet, and so I'm going to use this to take the salt out. But yeah, let's open the bucket up so you can kind of see what the salt looks like. Alright. So this is kind of what the salt looks like. There's a little bug in there already. I don't know where that came from. Alright, anyways. So it's just salt. Can't see what. But I'm going to have to do 20 in one, 20 in the other. So let's start mixing the salt. Alright, so here's my second little barrel of 40 gallons. So I'm going to just demonstrate how to do. It's not really that hard, but you see I have my pump running, and it's moving the water, so it agitates. So here, you just take a scoop of it, scoop of the salt, kind of brush it off, level it out, and then when you pour it in, just kind of like drizzle it on. Shoot, I got some on the hose, so push that down. You see, just kind of. So, and then that's one. So I got 19 more of those to do on this one. So it's been overnight. It's the next day now. Last night I mixed the water, had it going. I did check the salinity before I went to sleep, and it was reading at 1.019. And you want it to be the other tank I have is at 1.026. So I was going for 1.024, 1.025. Just because my thought is if I go to 1.026 and if I get behind on the auto top off, and you know the water evaporates, and now it could potentially get more higher than 1.026, and I don't want to do that. Um, so yeah, I had to add like 5 or 6 more cups of salt into the vat, into the bucket, for me to get from 1.019 to 1.02425. But now it's reading 1.025. I can show it to you on camera. So let's check the salinity. All right, so I actually bought this Hana salinity checker, just for this, but like it's really handy. It's I've used it a couple times already. I did calibrate it, and it's super easy. I think it's a little bit easier to use than the refractometer and trying to like look at it through the light, the lens. But yeah, so this is really easy. Let me reset it, power off, and all you do, right, is so 100% battery. The battery life is supposed to be really good, and you just kind of go in the water, shake it off, get any air bubbles out, and then wait for the reading, 1.025. So this is perfect to go in. I guess it went up down to 1.024, which is fine. That's kind of where I wanted to sit anyways. So letting it stabilize a little. And there you go, 1.024. So if you want me to do a video on the Hana checker, how to like set it up, how to, calibrate it, let me know in the comments and I'll do a video just on the Hana salinity checker. But like I said, this thing is a lifesaver and it's going to make water changes so much easier. But yeah, I couldn't say, and I bought it for, it was like $80. So it isn't cheap. But I think in the long run, it's going to pay off. But yeah, so that's what we have. Turn that off. All right, everybody. So we have our water mixed. We have the salinity level correct and everything. So the next thing is to actually get the water into the tank. But before we can do that, I need to get the sand in the tank. I was going to do the thermometer, the heater first, but I realized the heater had suction cups to stick on the wall, and the suction cups aren't going to work unless it's wet. So we're going to have to do the sand first, the water first, and then put in the gear. So I did get 40 pounds of sand. What I do to figure out how much sand I need and what how much I need for the type I'm going to use, I go to BRS. They have a sand calculator, and you just put in the dimensions of your tank, and then the size of the sand bed you want. If you want a 1-inch thick, 1.5, 2-inch thick, and then they kind of tell you how many pounds of sand you're going to need. So I was at 40.1, 41, something like that. So I just got 40 pounds of sand. That takes into account like the rock displacement and whatnot. So, but yeah, let me show you the sand I got. I got special grade. Special grade, so it's a little bit bigger than my last one. I used Ocean Direct on the last tank, and I liked it. The Ocean Direct was great. I liked how it looked, and just it was pretty sand. The only issue I had was every now and then when I had my pumps going a little bit stronger, it did blow around in the tank a little bit, and you would see like little sand dunes and whatnot. So the special grade seems to be a little bit heavier, so hopefully we don't have that problem. But I also wanted enough sand for like if I have any sand sifters, gobies or whatnot, to actually be able to like sift through the sand. But let me show you the sand I got. Alright, so I got the sand in. It's a little bit of a process. Sometimes I use a cup, sometimes I just dump it. So I just dumped it this time and then used my hands because it's kind of hard to get into all the little nooks and crannies. You can kind of see so there's some dead space. So hopefully it'll fill up, and then you can see there's some on the glass. So when I start filling this up with water, I'm gonna try to like aim it to kind of clean off the rock, clean off the glass, and then hopefully we can get some water in here today. All right, so I went ahead and filled up the tank with the water that I made. It took actually 1.5. Like if I were to measure, I had 80 gallons. So it took one whole 55 gallon, like 40 gallons, and then another half to actually fill this up. One of the cool things about the Innovative Marine tanks is they have like this comb here that you can change the height of the water. And so I kind of like this height. I'll see how it feels. Maybe I'll lower it later, but right now this is what the level is. It's a little cloudy because, of course, there's sand everywhere and the water's going, it splashes around. You can mitigate that if you like got a bowl, like a bowl or a Tupperware, and you put it on the ground or on the rock, and then you pointed the water into the bowl, and so the bowl would fill up, and as it filled up, it would overflow into the tank, and that kind of helps mitigate some of the dust. But like I said, I used mine to kind of clean off the rocks because I had a bunch of sand on the rock. This is what it looks like. The next thing I got to do, I did turn the pumps on. There's 2 Mighty Jets in there. I have them running at 1.5. I'm not really sure what that means. I have to look it up. I needed to run it so that way the salt and just to make sure it's moving. But yeah, the next thing is going to be getting the heater in. But as you can see, she's already curious. She's been on me the entire time while I was doing this. And yeah, look at her. She wants to go in, but she knows she can't. So those are definitely going to have to move. Okay, so this is everything that comes in the box. So this came in the heating element box, and then this came in the Inkbird. This one came in the Inkbird box, and so this is your controller. And so the controller has some temperature probes. Let me see if I can, there they are. Temperature probes. So these go in your tank at 2 different areas. And so they'll measure the temperature of the water. And then you have what you plug your heating element into. And so the idea is the Inkbird will turn your heater on and off as the temperature goes up and down. So let's get this all wired up. It looks pretty easy. I think this is the Wi-Fi controller, so I don't know how it connects to the Wi-Fi. I'll have to look that up in the manual. But I'm going to go ahead and get this into the tank as well. Alright guys, so here's kind of almost the finished product. I went ahead and put in the heater in there, so you can kind of see the heaters in there. I put it in this chamber. I don't know if I'm going to keep it there, but I want to keep some of these open because I do want to put in a UV reactor eventually. And I got to put in some marine pure bivalves. So what I'm going to be doing is actually taking some of the media, the cycle media that's in the old tank, and putting it in here so I can kind of jumpstart the cycle a little bit better, a little faster. But yeah, I think this turned out pretty good. And so, let me show you in here. So right there, I have the Inkbird set up. And it wasn't really too bad. I did go down a wrong route at some point when I was setting it up. And it took me a while, but eventually the phone just picked up the device, and I just had to add it, and it was pretty easy to set up. So now this is hooked up to my phone. Excuse the mess. I'm gonna have to cable manage all this eventually. I gotta get some stuff to help with that. But yeah, there's the Inkbird wireless controller. Sorry for the little flip of the phone, flip of the camera, but yeah, so you can kind of see on all around. You got pretty good surface agitation, which was missing in the old tank. So yeah, there's like all the viewing angles. All right, so I'm gonna start wrapping up this video. So on this one, we put in the sand, we put in the water, we mixed the salt in the barrels, got those in. So yeah, I think the next thing I'm gonna do is cycle the tank. So I'll make that a separate video, but the way I'm gonna be cycling it's gonna be different from the way I did the first time. Because the first tank was a brand new tank, brand new sand, brand new rock, brand new media. So I didn't do I did official cycle on the old tank, and I liked it. It worked fine, and I haven't had a problem with it. But since I'm using some of the cycled media from the other tank and I'm bringing it into here, I'm probably going to be doing a fish cycle. So we did go get the fish for it. I'll show you that in the next video. And by the by the next video, we'll have some livestock in here. But I think this tank is coming out really good. I have no problems with the Innovative Marine tank yet. Knock on wood. I haven't had any issues with leaks or anything like that. The tank stand is very user friendly. But yeah, so if you have any questions about the equipment I use, the heater, the pumps, the lights, any questions you have about the products I've used so far in this tank, don't hesitate to ask, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. If not, I'll find the answers for you. But yeah, so let me know if you guys are enjoying the series. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll try to answer them. So I'm gonna wrap it up here, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.